The first rule of my life was simple. Never touch my brother's best friend. Everyone knew who Ethan Black was. Quiet one. The dangerous one. The man who never smiled and never lost a fight. He had grown up in our house, slept on our couch, protected my brother like a shadow, and ignored me. Until the night my brother disappeared. They told us it was a car accident. They told us there was no body. They told us to stop asking questions. But when Ethan showed up at our door 3 days later, his knuckles bruised and his eyes empty, I knew something was wrong. "I'm staying here," he said quietly. My mother nodded without asking why. That night I heard him pacing outside my bedroom, back and forth, like he was guarding something, or someone. In the morning he looked at me for the first time in years, long, carefully, and said softly, "You're not leaving this house anymore." I laughed at first. "You're not my father," I said. "No," Ethan replied calmly. "I'm worse." He took my phone. Not violently, not angry, like it already belonged to him. "Your brother had enemies," he continued. "And now so do you. That's insane. 3 men followed you from the store yesterday," he said. Cold rushed through me. I scared them away. Fear crawled into my chest. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you'd try to run," he answered simply. "And I can't let that happen." The locks appeared that same night. Not on my door. On the front gate. On the windows. On the cameras I hadn't noticed before. When I tried to sneak outside, he was already standing there in the dark, waiting. "You don't listen very well," he murmured. "What are you hiding from me?" I whispered. He stepped closer, so close I could feel his breath. "I'm hiding you," he said. "And myself." The dreams started after that. Dreams where Ethan stood in my doorway watching me sleep. Dreams where his hands were on my waist, holding me still while I begged him not to leave. I woke up one night and found him sitting in the chair beside my bed. Not touching, just watching. My heart almost stopped. "What are you doing?" I whispered. "Making sure you're breathing." "Get out." "No." My voice shook. "You're not supposed to be here." He looked at me with something dark and painful. "I've been here every night since your brother disappeared," he said quietly. Tears filled my eyes. "Why?" "Because," he whispered, standing slowly, "if they come back for you." His fingers brushed my throat, checking my pulse. "They'll have to go through me first." My skin burned where he touched me. "You're afraid of me now," he murmured. "Yes," I said. His mouth curved into the smallest, saddest smile. "Good." Then he leaned down, brushed his lips against my forehead, and locked my bedroom door from the outside. The rules started the next morning. Not written, not explained, just enforced. Ethan took my keys, my credit card, even my backpack. "You're not going to school," he said calmly. "I have exams," I whispered. "You have enemies. That's not your decision." "Yes," he replied quietly. "It is." My hand shook. "You're acting like my brother." His eyes darkened. "No," he said. "I'm acting like the man who knows exactly how he died." The words stole my breath. "You said it was an accident." "They said it was an accident," Ethan corrected. Silence fell between us. "You know who killed him," I whispered. "Yes." "Then tell the police." He laughed softly. "They work for the same people." Fear flooded my veins. "Why are they after me?" He hesitated, then finally said, "Because your brother didn't die in an accident." My heart slammed. "He stole something from them," Ethan continued. "And before he disappeared, he gave it to me." "What?" "You." The word hit me like a slap. "I was supposed to hide you," he said quietly, "until this was over." Tears filled my eyes. "And after?" He looked at me with something raw and dangerous. "After," he whispered, "you were supposed to be mine." That afternoon I tried to escape. Not dramatically. Just quietly slipping out the back door while he was on the phone. I almost made it. His hand closed around my wrist before I touched the gate. "Don't," he said softly. Turned shaking. "You're kidnapping me." "No," he replied calmly. "I'm keeping a promise." "To who?" "To your brother." My voice broke. "What promise?" He pulled me inside and locked the door. "I promised him I'd keep you alive," he said. "And I promised myself I'd never let you go." Fear and heat tangled in my chest. "You don't get to decide my life." "I already did," he whispered. That night, he moved into the room across from mine. Not to watch the house. To watch me. Every time I opened my door, he was there. 3 days later, the first man came. I was in the kitchen when a shadow crossed the window. Then glass shattered. Ethan was on me instantly, pushing me to the floor, covering my body with his own. Gunshots echoed. Screams. He shouted orders into his phone without lifting his weight from me. "Stay down," he growled. The door burst open. A man ran inside. Gun raised. Before I could scream, Ethan shot him. Once. The man fell dead at my feet. Blood spread across the tile. I started shaking violently. Ethan turned to me. His hands suddenly gentle. "Look at me," he whispered. "Not at him." I sobbed into his chest. He held me tightly, rocking me like I was something fragile. "They found us," he murmured. "Who are they?" Cried. "The people who killed your brother." My heart shattered. "Why didn't they kill me too?" He went still. Then quietly. "Because he begged them not to." Silence crushed my lungs. "He traded his life for yours," Ethan whispered. Tears poured down my face. "And now," he said, his voice breaking for the first time, "I'm going to make sure no one ever takes you from me again." After the shooting, he didn't let me sleep alone again. Not because I asked. 'Cause he decided. He carried a mattress into my room and placed it on the floor beside my bed. "If they come back," he said calmly, "I'll hear them before you do." I stared at him in shock. "You're going to sleep here?" "Yes." "Ethan, don't argue." That night, I lay awake listening to his breathing in the dark. Low, steady, protective. At some point I whispered, "Tell me how my brother really died." Silence. Then the mattress creaked as he turned toward me. "They held him in a warehouse by the river," he said quietly. "He stole a drive from them." Counts. Everything." My chest tightened. "He refused to give it back." "Why?" "Because he knew they would come for you next." Tears burned my eyes. "They told him they'd spare you if he confessed to the police," Ethan continued. "If he said he acted alone." "And did he?" "Yes." My breath shattered. "They shot him anyway," Ethan whispered. Silence swallowed the room. "I was there," he added. I turned toward him, shaking. "You watched him die." "I killed 2 men trying to stop it." My heart slammed painfully. "And when he fell," his voice broke. He grabbed my shirt and said, "Promise me she'll never belong to them." Tears poured down my face. "And you promised," I whispered. "Yes. And then? You decided I would belong to you instead." He didn't answer. Which was answer enough. The isolation became complete after that. No school. No friends. No internet. No leaving the house. Guards appeared at night without explanation. Men I had never seen before. Silent. Armed. When I asked who they were, Ethan only said, "People who owe me." I started to feel like the house was shrinking. Walls closer. Ceilings lower. And Ethan. Always there. Always watching. One afternoon, I found him cleaning blood from a knife in the kitchen sink. My stomach twisted. "Who was that?" I whispered. He didn't look up. "One of them. They came here again." "No," he said calmly. "I went to them." Fear crawled through me. "You left me alone." "For 12 minutes," he replied. "And you're still alive." Tears filled my eyes. "You're becoming a monster." He finally looked at me. "I already was," he said softly. Then he stepped closer. "But I'm your monster." My pulse raced. The kiss happened by accident. Or maybe didn't. It was raining hard that night. Thunder shaking the windows. I woke from a nightmare screaming my brother's name. Ethan was beside me instantly, pulling me into his arms. "You're safe," he whispered again and again. I was shaking too badly to speak. He sat on the bed and held me, my face pressed against his chest, his hand moving slowly through my hair. "Don't leave me," I whispered without thinking. "I won't," he said instantly. I looked up. Our faces too close. Too warm. Too dangerous. "You're not supposed to want me," I whispered. "I know." His voice was broken. "Then why do you look at me like that?" "Because," he said quietly, "I've loved you since you were 17 and I was trying not to ruin your life." My breath caught. "You're lying." "I'm not." Tears slid down my face. "I watched you grow up," he continued softly. "I told myself I was protecting you. I told myself I was your brother's shadow." His thumb brushed my lower lip. "But when he died," his voice shook, "I stopped pretending." Silence burned between us. "You're afraid of me now," he whispered. "Yes," I said. "Good," he murmured. And he kissed me. Low. Careful. Like he was afraid I would disappear. When he pulled away, he looked devastated. I shouldn't have done that. My heart was racing so fast it hurt. "Do it again," I whispered. And he did. After the kiss, nothing was innocent anymore. He tried to pretend it hadn't happened, avoided my eyes, slept on the floor again, kept his distance like space could erase what we had done. But I felt it everywhere. In the way his gaze followed me through the room. In the way his jaw tightened when I spoke. In the way his hand hovered near my waist and never quite touched. On the fourth day I found the flash drive, hidden inside my brother's old jacket in the closet. Black. Heavy. My heart began to race. I took it to Ethan. "This is what he stole," I whispered. His face went completely still. "Where did you find that?" "In his things." He closed his eyes slowly. "They've been hunting us for this," he said quietly. "What's on it?" "Names," he replied. "Judges, politicians, traffickers, men who buy girls like furniture." Cold flooded my veins. "My brother stole their whole network. And gave it to me," Ethan whispered. "Why you?" "Because I'm the only man he trusted to burn it." My voice shook. "Then why don't you give it to the police?" He laughed softly. "They are the police." Silence crashed through me. "And now," he continued, "the man who ordered your brother's death finally knows where we are." Fear wrapped around my throat. "Who is he?" Ethan looked at me with dark, careful eyes. "My father." That night, the house went on lockdown. Steel shutters dropped over the windows. Guards doubled. Generators turned on. And Ethan put a gun under my pillow. "If anyone comes into this room but me," he whispered, "shoot first." My hand shook. "You're going to get yourself killed." "Yes," he replied calmly. "But not you." Thunder rolled outside. Rain slammed against the roof. At 2:33 a.m. the power went out. Screams echoed through the house. Gunfire exploded. The door burst open. Men rushed inside. I screamed. Ethan appeared out of nowhere, dragging me off the bed, pulling me into a hidden passage behind the wall. "Run," he ordered. "I'm not leaving you." He grabbed my face hard. "If you stay, they'll use you to make me surrender." Tears streamed down my face. "Then come with me." "I can't," he whispered. "Because this ends tonight." He shoved me into the tunnel and slammed the door shut. Darkness swallowed me. Ran. Crawled. Screamed his name. In silence, I found the exit behind the house. Wet grass. Cold air. Freedom. Cars waited at the gate. Men shouting. Flashlights everywhere. They had surrounded the property. I ran anyway. Someone grabbed me. Kicked. Screamed. And then, a gunshot. The man fell. Ethan stood behind him. Bleeding. Breathing hard. "You didn't run far enough," he whispered. I collapsed into his arms, sobbing. "They're all dead," he said quietly. "All of them." I stared at him in horror. "You killed everyone." "No," he replied. "Only the ones who wanted you." Sirens wailed in the distance. "Please, real this time. They'll take you away," I whispered. "Yes," he said. "They'll kill you in prison." "Yes." Silence broke us. "Let me go with them," I begged. "No." He touched my face gently. "I planned this," he admitted softly. My heart stopped. "What?" "I bought this house because of the tunnels. Hired the guards. I moved you here." "Why?" "Because this was always the place I would end it." Tears streamed down my face. "You planned to die." "Yes." "And leave me alone." "No," he whispered. "I planned to make sure you were free." My chest hurt. "I don't want freedom," I sobbed. "I want you." His breath hitched violently. Later, when the house burned behind us and the sirens got closer, he took my hands. "There's a car in the woods," he said. "Fake passports. Cash. You're running." "Yes. And me." He hesitated, then said the words that destroyed me. "I was never supposed to take you with me." Silence shattered. "I was supposed to disappear so you could have a life." Tears poured down my face. "You planned my life without you." "Yes. Since the day your brother died." My heart broke. "Everything you did, every lock, every rule, was to keep you alive long enough to leave me," he finished softly. Police lights flashed through the trees. Time was gone. "Go," he whispered. "No. I'm not asking." He tried to step away. I grabbed his shirt. "Then I'll tell them everything," I cried. "I'll say I helped you. I'll go to prison with you." He froze. "You wouldn't." "I will." Silence. Then slowly, he pulled me into his arms and whispered the words that changed everything. "Then run with me." We ran before the sirens reached the house. Through the woods. Through the rain. Barefoot, bleeding, shaking, holding each other so tightly I thought our hearts might fuse together just to survive. The car was exactly where he said it would be. Hidden beneath branches. Keys already in the ignition. We drove for hours without speaking. Police lights disappeared behind us. The world fell quiet. When dawn finally came, we stopped at an abandoned motel near the border. Ethan locked the door, checked the windows, then collapsed against the wall like his body had finally remembered it was human. "You should hate me," he whispered. I crossed the room and held his face in my hands. "I chose you," I said softly. And for the first time, he cried. He told me everything that morning. About his father. The man who had ordered my brother's death. The man who ran the entire network. The man who had raised Ethan to be his weapon. "I was killing for him before I met your brother," he whispered. "Cleaning up messes. Making people disappear." My chest tightened. "And when your brother stole the drive, my father ordered me to kill him." Tears spilled down my face. "But you didn't," I whispered. "No," he said. "I helped him escape." My breath caught. "He was supposed to run," Ethan continued. "Start a new life. But he came back." "Why?" "To give me the drive. And to beg me to protect you." Silence crushed my lungs. "My father found us before he could leave," Ethan whispered. "And I." His voice broke. "I held him while he bled out." I sobbed into his chest. "You killed your own family for me." "I chose you," he said simply. 2 days later we crossed the border. New names, new papers, new life. In a city that didn't know our faces. We hid in a small apartment above a closed bookstore. No guards, no cameras, no locks on the inside. Ethan never once stopped me from leaving. Never took my phone. Never touched my keys. "You're free," he said quietly. And that terrified me more than any cage. 'Cause now, I stayed. By choice. One night weeks later, I woke to voices in the street. Men. Arguing. Laughing. Ethan was awake instantly. Gun in his hand. "They found us," I whispered. "No," he said softly. They found him. We watched from the window as black cars surrounded a man across the street. An older man. Powerful. Familiar. His father. Men dragged him into the light. And then, gunshots. Silence. Ethan went completely still. They killed him, I whispered. Yes, he said. Your brother's people finally cashed in the drive. Tears slid down my face. It's over. No, he said quietly. It's beginning. Months later, people started whispering a new name. A ghost. A man who replaced the old king. Someone who controlled everything from the shadows. Someone no one ever saw. Except the woman always at his side. Me. I learned the business. Codes. Power. I learned how to order men to disappear with a single sentence. And Ethan. He never lied to me again. One night, standing on a balcony above the city, he whispered, "You could still leave." I smiled slowly. And go where? You could have a normal life. I turned to him. And you? I would disappear, he said. Silence stretched between us. Then I stepped closer, put his gun into his hand, pressed it against my own heart. If you ever become the man your father was, I whispered, I'll be the one who ends you. His breath hitched. He lowered the weapon and kissed my forehead. That's why, he murmured. You're my queen. Years later, people told stories about the Shadow King and the girl he stole from the world. They said she was his weakness. They said she was his curse. They were wrong. I wasn't stolen. I wasn't trapped. I wasn't saved. I chose the man who burned his entire life to keep me breathing. And when I look at him now, ruling a kingdom built from blood and secrets, I don't see a monster. I see the boy who promised my dying brother one thing. That I would never belong to evil, only to him.